Around the Krieger household, it was a tradition. On birthdays, the honoree could choose any activity within reason, and the whole family would take part together. For Neil Krieger, his wish was simple: 45 uninterrupted minutes with his 2 kids and his wife in their living room, just to talk. Clearly, he had his priorities in order: family over everything else. That's not to say he didn't have an impressive career. Neil spent 20 years in neuroscience at prestigious medical schools before he founded a consulting company focused on helping biotech startups. But above all that, he was a husband and he was a father, known for his warmth, known for his wisdom, and overflowing imagination. It wasn't enough to just set the table at the holidays. Everyone needed their own unique, handcrafted place setting. And New Year's cards, never store-bought. They were a custom labor of love. For Neil, every opportunity was a chance to get creative, to have fun, to embrace life, and to celebrate the moment. And in that way, he lives on. We are so sorry to report Neil Krieger died of complications from COVID-19 last April, but his family has made a mission out of honoring his memory. And joining us now is his daughter and his son, Hillary and Jonathan Krieger. Hillary, you first. Tell me about your dad.
Well, our dad was somewhat of an unconventional person. He didn't go chasing after things that a lot of people go chasing after. He really focused on what was meaningful for him, which was his family and his friends. He just always was looking for opportunities to make a connection with somebody. I remember growing up, he didn't wear a watch because he said that it was a great chance to talk to a new person when you asked them what time it was. So he just lived life on his own terms and really passed that wisdom and spirit on down to us.
Jonathan, what do you find yourself thinking of most and in the sort of strangest moments?
I think my dad was somebody who always really believed in celebrating the moment. You know, if something really great happened for you, then it was like that same thing happened for him. And anything time something like that did happen, you know, he was really encouraged. You got to take advantage of this. You got to make sure you celebrate it. And he was somebody who, you know, enjoyed a sunset or just sitting and talking with his friends. And I think for me personally, I'm someone who's very go, go, go. And so having that reminder that actually the important stuff in life is the slow parts. I think that.
I want to get to what you're both doing, adding a word, but I want to read something that you wrote, Hillary, because it just struck me. In your think piece back in May of last year, you write about how your blame turned inward, thinking about how your dad asked once, "You're a journalist," he told me, "isn't there more you can do?" He urged me and my news organization to produce more stories, exposing what the governor was or wasn't doing, the lives he was playing with. Though this outward anger might be reasonable, Kessler urged me not to turn it inward. Self-blame was unwarranted and only muddies the healing process. There was some blame that's there, he said, referring to the actions of the authorities, but it is not yours. What you wrote was one of the most beautiful things on the complicated nature of grieving the loss of a loved one to COVID. Since you wrote that, do you have any more thoughts you want to share?
Well, thank you very much for reading that and saying that. I think, you know, it was really hard as a journalist who was involved with covering the story of COVID before it happened and seeing this terrible thing coming and then really being a person in the story, how, you know, experiencing that was really hard and feeling like on some level, maybe I let my dad down. But after he passed away, I just felt one of the things was that it was very hard to find any meaning, to find a purpose, something to get up for. And because I was involved in the news and this story, I could, you know, do something to help more people know about him, obviously, and our family's experience, but other people's experiences and the bigger questions and issues, and having the ability to connect to people around that and to be engaged professionally. As much as it was hard, it was really important in the process of moving forward and coming out of the worst of the grief.
Jonathan, there's so much that you obviously have all shared about the experience and about your dad, but there's something else that you are both trying to add to our ability to remember him, and that is a word. Explain, Jonathan.
Sure. So the word is orbisculate. So if you've ever been digging into a citrus fruit with a spoon and then juice squirts in your eye, our dad came up with the word for that. So that would be called, it's orbisculated or orbisculated on you. And growing up in our house, we always just sort of thought that was a word. Turns out it's not a word for everybody else, but it was for us. And so, that word is obviously just such a tiny part of who our dad was, but it captured just sort of his creativity and his playfulness. And so we've set out on a mission to, in his honor, get the word orbisculate into the dictionary.